Hello friends, welcome back to my channel NS Automation. In today's session, we'll discuss about the page class, right? How we create a page class using page object model in Selenium WebDriver. Let's start the session. First of all, we'll discuss what is page classes, right? Why we need to define the page classes. So page classes is something like we have to create every page that we have on the web application. Similar page class we create in the framework. If you have a Selenium framework where you create a same page class which you have a page that exists on your web application. So and why we need to define the page class? Because we will work with different types of pages on the web application. So we will store the web element present on each web page, and that page contains all the web elements under that Java class. So let's suppose you have a login page or you have a home page. So all the element that belongs to login page, that elements and the method which you need to perform on that web elements, you will create under that login page, and the web element that belongs to the home page, you will create a home page.class file where you create all the web elements and the method that belongs to that home page on the same page, right? So in the same way, we create a small prototype of web application where you have all the web pages on the web application. That same page you have, or you can say a same page class you have in your framework. So how we define a page class, right? Before moving to the practical session, how we define a page class, we should know what the things we have to write in the page class. हमें जानना होगा कि हम page class में क्या क्या चीज़ें रखते हैं, right? So first of all, let's suppose take an example. You are creating a page, like suppose there is a home page where you have a search icon over there, right? So what you will do, you will create a similar homepage.java file in your Selenium framework, and then that framework or you can say then that class file, you will create the locators of such locator of search bar and the method that will perform operation on that search bar, right? So we will create the locator of that web element, search web element, and the method. So how we can define the locator and the method? So there are two things we only define in the page class. First is the locator. That means how you locate that element. So you locate that element, you will define a locator and you keep that locator in the variable. Now that variable should be private, and the method which you will create that work, or you can say that you perform operation on that locator or that web element, should be public. Because these why we using that locator should be private and the method should be public, because we are using the concept of encapsulation that is provided by the Java. So all the page classes you will define in the Selenium framework, that depends on the concept of encapsulation, where all the locators, also the locators we called as the object repository, that will be private, and the method that we want something some operation we need to perform, like there is a button, so we need to click that button. If we have a search box available, so we need to enter the value into the search box, right? So that operation which we are creating in the form of will create in a form of method, and that method would be public. So this is basically a page class. What is page class, why we define page class, and the importance of page class. Now we'll move to the practical session and see how we create a page class. Now this is the open cart application. This is the demo application. I just want to demonstrate to you how we can create a page class in Selenium. So this is just a login page, and we want to log in into the application. But before logging into the application, what we need to do, we need to use the web elements to, and with the help of that web element, we want to perform some operation. क्या ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करना है, राइट? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी नीड टू एंटर द यूजर नेम, देन वी नीड टू एंटर द पासवर्ड, एंड देन वी विल क्लिक ऑन द लॉगिन बटन. Once we click on the login button, we are able to log in into the application, right? So how we can do, like first of all, we'll create, because this web page, or you can say the web application on which we are working, they have a login page. So what we'll do, in our IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse, you will create a module. Let's suppose I have created a module like OpenCart. This is a directory, or you can say a folder structure, and inside this I have just created a Java class, and my Java class name is login page. Now what I will do here first, so I told you, like, first of all we'll create the locators, and locators are private, and the method that based on that locator are public. So let's suppose we want to use this login page. So I have created the login page class in Java. Now I will find the locators, the username, like so first of all I want a username and password and the login button. So first of all I will create the locator of this. Let's suppose I will inspect this element, and I can find the locator. Like I have the input ID is available over there, so I will use the ID. No, it's not unique, so I will create the CSS for this, like input hashtag username. So I create the CSS for this username. So I will copy this locator. So the locator that I have copied, that is the string type locator. So I will keep that locator into the string variable. So I will use string, and the name of that locator, we have the username. So I will take the username, and the username is I have created CSS. So I will write just a CSS. Just for the understanding that I have created CSS for username. So I will paste that locator over here, and now I told you that we will keep that locator under the string or under a variable, but that variable should be private. So I will quickly move to the this locator, and I will use this private access modifier. Also I will use the static keyword, because static is just a keyword by which we do not require more memory, or you can say that it's consume less memory, right? It's more memory efficient, right? So I have taken this static variable. If you want to know the detail about the static variable, I will share my description of my video, where I have described the static variable, static keyword in Java in detail. Now we have a different locator as well. Now we have a password, so I will create the locator for the password. I have this input password. I will put the value into this. Yes, I have created this locator. Now I will go back to the my page, and I will again create a private static variable, like string variable also, and this is my password. So again I will create the password, and I CSS equals to, I will put the value into this. Now I have to use the login button as well, so I will create the locator for login button as well. So login button is here. I will use the button type equals to submit. So basically I will create the CSS. So this is the tag name, and inside this is type equals to, now just submit. So I am able to find the login button. So I will copy this and go back to the page class, create private static string, and I will provide this login button, and this is CSS. One more thing you can write to make this locators in more readable form, like username is a text box. So you can do like in POM, basically we define text. This is a text box, so generally we use text box username. We'll use the camel casing, and here also we'll use this is also a text box, so we'll write a text box in front of this so that we can know what type of locator we have. This is the button, so we'll create a button. btn is small form to donate to locate the button, right? So we have created the locator for all the locators, web elements. Now we'll create the methods. Now method is public, so we'll read the public void. Now first is the text box. So what operation we need to perform in the text box? We want to enter the username. So we'll use the name like enter. You can use any name, so I'm using enter username. If you want, you can use private provide username, right? Enter username or whatever. Now I will use here two things. One is the web element that I want to use, and I want to use that web element with the help of the WebDriver class, or you can say the WebDriver interface. So that will be that interface or that WebDriver reference I will pass from my test class from. So here I have to define this WebDriver because it will execute, all the things will be executed with the help of the driver only. So we'll have to define the driver, and then I'm taking that WebDriver as an parameter, and this driver parameter will be passed when we are calling this method in the test class. So whenever we are calling, or from where we are calling this method, we'll pass the driver reference in as a parameter over there. So now the second thing that I want a string type username. So basically why I'm using this username, I want a username should be passed from my script, right? And we won't use the static username over here. So I will pass this as a parameter, and when I will call this method, I will provide the username directly from the test class, right, where I will call this. So if you have, now we have created a method. Now we have created a method user enter username, and here we want to perform we want to enter username into the text box. So what we will do here, we'll use the same locator that we have created, and we have taken WebDriver as a parameter and username also as a parameter. Why we have taken username as a parameter? Because I want it to make this thing as a dynamic, right? So whenever I will call this method in any of the script, from there I can pass as my scenario required, or the username based on my scenario, right? So that's why it's I've created as taken as this as a parameter, and parameter will be dynamic as per the script driver. So I will create a web element where I store this location. So I will take the username element it is, right? I will create the username. I will use driver dot find element by dot css, and then text box username, right? So this is I've created. Now username element dot, I will use the send keys, and here I will provide the username that I have taken from the parameter. So I will put that variable here. So whenever I will put the username, like I use the username, so at that username will be entered over this username text box. Now this is the one method I have created. Now in the same way, we'll create a new method for this password text box, and it should also the same. So we'll use the same method, like same way. Now here we'll just change the name, like we are passing the password, so we'll use the password over here, and here also we'll take the password as a dynamic parameter. So we'll just use password over here, and here same, you can use password element over here, and instead of here you can use text box and password. This password, and here you will use the pass element, and this instead of username will be pass the password. Sorry, password. This is the how we have entered the username and the password. Now we want to click on the login button. So for that, again we'll create a method, public method and we will create click login button. Here will pass only one parameter because I don't require anything from the user. I only want a driver, so I will just pass driver parameter, because for clicking I don't require any input from the user, so I am not taking any parameter after the driver, only one parameter, that is driver. And then I will use the web element login. You can use any name, like I'm keeping login element. You want to just log in, you can use anything. Like now driver dot find element. Basically find element is the method by which we can find the element or the web element that is located on the web page. So it will capture the location of that web element. So CSS by CSS and the button log, right. Now we'll log in element, and with the help of this reference I will do click, right. We want to click on this element, so we have created a click method for this. Now we have created a click method over here. In the same way, you will create a different page classes. That how many page classes you have, you will create the page class in this similar way. Also, if you want to use the commenting, you will commenting is a proper thing that we can use. Like you always need to provide the commenting, so we'll use the shortcut I have used. Like you will use slash double star and then enter, so it will take the parameter as param, and you will use the main, like its method is used to enter username. Right. So basically this you can just provide a description what this method basically will perform on the web application. So I just use this method is used to enter the username, right, on the login page. So this is just a way by which we create the page class in the Selenium WebDriver by using page object model, right.